las 2 horas más informativas de la radio.
Muy buenas tardes, y aquí nos encontramos en nuestro primer programa de Spring, podemos decir, y aquí estamos con nuestro primer invitado. Estamos con Charles Young, una persona bastante interesante para todos nosotros, donde desafortunadamente vamos a hablarlo en inglés, ya que él no habla el español, y las personas que estén interesadas y que quieran verlo en nuestro programa pueden verlo en AculcoRadio.com, y también va a estar en el programa de videos, porque aquí también tenemos dos invitados muy especiales de Valencia, donde los tenemos detrás de cámaras y no me pueden saludar, pero les puedo decir así: hola. Hola Arturo. Hola Lucía, ¿cómo están?
Muy bien.
Muy bien. Y aquí tenemos con nosotros a Charles. Charles, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
First of all, thank you very much for coming to our program. It's very kind of you to come to this program. It's our first program of this season. And one of the reasons why I invited you is because the work you do is very interesting. It's going to be a very deep program. It's going to be a very interesting program, especially for those young kids that are in trouble and they don't know how to get out of this problem yet. So I think you are the most important key for this program. First of all, I'm going to ask you how long you were in prison, Charles. I know your life, but people doesn't know much about you. How long you were in prison for?
Around 20 years.
20 years.
From the age of 14 up to 40, so it's in and out.
20 years is a long time. Can I ask you why? Why you down so badly to be 20 years inside cells?
It wasn't that I did anything that bad. I mean, I never killed anyone, but fraud, deception, burglary, driving away, a couple of drug offences, some puff. The main one was nicking cars.
Nicking cars?
Yeah.
Because 20 years ago that was serious, nicking cars.
Well, it's any quite
It is serious now, but before was very, very serious.
Well, it's sad, because if my parents had told me how to get a driving licence, and in them days insurance would have been fairly cheap anyway, and take a driving test. I mean, you can drive a ped now with a provisional licence and an L plate. You have to have a test, a basic test, to show competence and show that you can handle a bike. But you can go out there and drive legally with a provisional licence.
Did you? I mean, when you were 14, you were a very young lad.
Yeah.
Did you have maybe have a good teacher, some people that you follow?
No.
Just in your why don't you say?
Well, if you look on my website, laces.org.uk, and you look at my slippery slope, number 5 on my list of 7 is I'll follow my friend's advice, not my own.
Yeah.
Because my parents never told me about the benefits of an education and supported me as a young person, encouraged me, motivated me, I went out and listened to my friends and just looked at, I mean, the kids nowadays look at their friends as their family. That's what I did.
Did you blame the government at the time? Did you blame your parents? Did you blame the system? Why did you commit these crimes? Why you waste your life? Because we were talking about that you could be a very good swimmer, you could be a very good athlete, you could be a gold
medal winner. Yeah.
And do you think that you blame the system, or is nobody to blame?
2 points. The first one, you've got teachers teaching in schools that shouldn't be in schools. They scream and shout at kids. They their fingers in their faces, and you can't teach respect to a child by screaming and shouting at him in their face. You've got to encourage and motivate. And today, I found out today, there's the system, as you call it, as we call it. There's a group of prison officers going around the country in taking their roadshow into schools, and I looked at their website today and asked. It said something about volunteers, and I rang up and said, look, I'm just trying to find out the information about your program, and it says volunteers. And she said, have you got any experience of prison? I said, yeah, I've been inside for 20 years. And she said, as a prison officer? I said, no, as a serving offender, as an inmate. And she said, I said, you know, I'd like to volunteer. And she said, we don't work with ex-offenders.
They don't work with ex-offenders. Did you think those 20 years inside prison, because you were 14, you were out when you were 34 years old?
No, I got out when I stopped offending when I was 40.
40?
Yeah.
You went back again?
I kept going in and out.
In and out?
Yeah.
So, tell me about inside prison. What was the experience inside prison?
Prison is boring. Prison doesn't rehabilitate you.
It doesn't. It's not good lesson for anybody.
No. You go into prison and you've got to be aware of your surroundings. As a young person, no one told me what it was like in prison. No one told me the dangers and the bullshit, you know, that you're getting from other cons. They're all trying to be the same, but prison is a very dangerous place.
Strange place because why? Because
well,
bad habits. Because of
look, if you was my partner, and I went out and got nicked and went to prison again, I would expect you to come and visit me. But if you didn't visit me and you sent me a Dear John, which is a letter saying I've had enough of you, I don't want to follow you no more, I'm sick of dragging the kids around the country, you know, I'm sick of bringing your drugs up, you know, you're okay, you've got a roof over your head, 3 square meals a day, I'll send you a letter saying I'm finished. So I get angry, and I come out of my cell and I'm walking down the landing, someone looks at me, I'll get a bucket, a jug of boiling water and I'll throw it in your face. That's the impression you've got to give in there, that you're hard, that you're someone special, and you're not. You're the same as everybody else.
John, was it because you went to prison when you were very young?
14.
Where you give the opportunity to continue your education as a young lad, or you were not?
Well, you can go to prison and get an education as a young person, but you can't concentrate on your education in there because you're forever thinking about outside, your family, your friends. And then you're thinking about the person that's threatened you on the wing, that says, "I'm going to stab you. I'm going to beat you black and blue." So you know, I challenge anybody to say that prison works with education, unless you're ready to do it.
So you feel that you lost 20 years of your life inside prison?
Yes.
So you lost it completely.
It was just a complete waste.
If you could change back your life to when you were 14, 16, what would you do differently?
Well, that's the thing. I can't go back, but what I do tells the younger version of me, you have a choice. This is what the prison's like. This is what life is like.
Important.
Life is so important because it sends a message. It gives a message. Look at me. I'm 58 years old. I'm an old man. You know, I can't do the things that I'd like to do. Yes, I'd like to go back and start again, but I can't. But by telling that message that you have a choice, and that you can be and do anything you want to do, as long as you stay within the law, as long as you go with the system.
What about your family?
Well, I was married for 26 years.
Your mother?
Oh, my mum's still alive. My dad's dead. My dad died about 30 odd years ago.
How he felt? How they felt about?
Well, we didn't have a relationship. You know, there was no relationship at all. In fact, my father and me were miles apart. My son and me are now miles apart because when I was in and out of prison, his mother was bringing him up, and he became the man of the house. So every time I come home and told him to get out of bed to go to school, to get out of bed and go and find a job, get out of bed and go to work, he just used to...
He didn't want to know?
No.
So you think that the male figure is very important?
So important.
In a
very
family's
important.
Life?
Yeah.
So it's something that you're working now towards the young couple or young people?
What I say to a person, whether it be male or female, young or old, education is so important in your life. When you go through an education, what you're doing is you're finding not only you, but you're finding the person, the male or the female companion that you might want to spend the rest of your life with. They like what you like what they like. When you get that union, you start a life. With no education, these young girls are going out getting pregnant, these young boys are treating them like a piece of meat, and domestic violence is rife. It's terrible.
Charles, what were the challenges in your life during those 20 plus years that you spent inside, in and out? What are the main challenges that you really remember?
Well, the main challenge when you're living a criminal lifestyle is don't get caught. You know, you go out and commit a crime and you're forever looking over your shoulder, you know, waiting for the door to come crashing in, waiting to be stopped as a routine patrol, routine traffic stop, and you get warrants out for your arrest. The main thing about prison is survival.
Survival inside.
Yeah, and keeping your sanity.
Really?
I broke down on more than one occasion, but I never listened until I was 40. No one told me, no one showed me the benefits of a lifestyle, which is why when Lacey's does their prison cell presentations, I have an alternative role play prisoner. As I said to you earlier, I've got a friend by the name of Barry. He is a black guy with a bald head, and he puts prison clothes on and he sits in a prison cell. He's a magistrate. So when I tell my story about how I got into the system, I then introduce Barry. About an hour later, Barry comes forward and tells his story. How he had a not too great upbringing, you know, lived in poverty, but became a magistrate out of determination and made a success of it.
So in other words, the background is very important, but also it's up to the individual to be able to do something for themselves. You don't need to be
the right influences.
Yeah, influence, but you can also do it, because we got a barrister here, we got friends there who are able to do something in their life, and they went up from a very, very posh or extremely good background, but it's still done something. So it's an excuse.
Can I say about Jason?
Yes, please.
Okay, Jason was a 17-year-old lad. I've known the family for years, but I saw Jason on a Thursday. Jason told me he was going to go to court on Friday, Crown Court, because the youth offending team that he was under, he couldn't engage with them, so he breached 3 times. He was referred back to the Crown Court, and they recommended secure unit.
Yeah.
Now, if you've ever been to a secure unit, and I've been to a secure unit, they're not nice places. Lots of anger, lots of aggression, lots of tension. I gave my leaflet to Jason's barrister, who passed it to the judge. The judge asked the youth offending team officer to stand in the witness box and give his reasons why Jason should go back to prison. And they said, we can't engage with him. What they don't tell you is how rude they were to Jason and how disrespectful they were to Jason and his family. Now, I was asked to stand in the witness box, and what is it different about Lacey's? Why should Lacey's be any different to the youth offending team? Well, I'm the older version of Jason, and I told the court that when I look at Jason, that's me standing there.
Yeah.
The judge looked at my leaflet, looked at Jason, deliberated for a minute, and then said, Jason, stand up. I'm going to take a course of action that no other judge will take. I'm going to revoke the youth offending team order and the community payback order, and I'm going to refer you to Lacey's. Excuse me. That was in May 2009.
Yeah.
I spoke to Jason the day before yesterday, and he still hasn't gone out and offended. Why? Because I give him the respect that he wants, and I give him time. Jason
so
now
what does Jason do now? What is
he's working for McDonald's.
Working for McDonald's.
Yeah, but I don't need to remind Jason no more. Jason thinks for himself.
Yeah.
Jason has rehabilitated himself and continues to do so.
So then we had to go back to the lack of opportunities, and possible this is a government's fault for no working in partnership with the young people, with police, with the prison officers, because there had to be a partnership to be able to enable to. Who
better to work with in collaboration than ex-offenders that show dedication, commitment.
Did you ever go back to the prison? Did you ever go back there? And did they allow you to go back and talk to young people if they are out of prison, not to re-offend again and not to go back again?
Let me tell you my idea, my vision for Lacey's, okay? Is to start, well, let's put it this way, prison have people, have prisoners called listeners. Now the listeners are trained by the Samaritans to work with vulnerable and at-risk young offenders or those that are vulnerable, prisoners. When they come out of prison, there's nothing for them. What LACES wants to do is to have a dedicated ex-offender program that when a young person gets arrested, you phone LACES, you contact LACES. Immediately you've got an appropriate adult mentor. They work with that young person.
Let's talk about LACES. What LACES do? What is the capacity for LACES? I know it's been there for more than 18 years.
Yep.
But what is the capacity to be able to work with young people and to attract young people to you? Is it has a psychologist, because young people will need psychologists?
You'd be surprised at the amount of people that don't want to work with LACES.
Psychologists. Do they have a creation of jobs?
You can create jobs for people with criminal records.
Jobs, yeah.
By doing
because
what
it's a lack
do.
of opportunities for you guys.
Yes, it's a great opportunity.
So, okay. Tell me about something. I know this story we can repeat again. You talk about your daughter, you talk about your son, you have a relationship with your son, you have more relationship with your daughter.
I've got two daughters.
Two daughters.
Yeah.
But you were telling me about one of your daughters, you're going to be a grandfather.
I am a grandfather.
You're a grandfather as well.
Yeah, but it was my youngest daughter that had the baby. She's 18. I think this is what society does to people.
Yeah.
You're forced into growing up before your childhood even ends. You know, you're not a child no more. All these young people out there want to be so grown up and they want respect, but they don't know how to go and get it. And the adult, the communities and the system, as you just said earlier, it doesn't cater for that.
No.
They're cutting everything. There's nothing for these young people to do. Why was there rioting last year? Because the young people wanted stuff they can't afford to go out and buy. There's no jobs for them.
So you blame the situation, the economic situation, you blame this socio-political system that is not working for young people today, and that is one of the main reasons why young people break last summer into the riots, into the most amazing riots ever seen.
Terrible.
In UK.
Yeah, terrible.
What would you change? What would you change now that you got the
I want to change attitudes.
You, as a young lad, you went to prison, you have a really bad experience because being in prison is not very good. You come out, you've been again there twice or maybe 3 times. Now you set up your own LACE. That is one of the things that you're very proud of.
Yeah.
But what else would you change in life to attract more young people to be able to work with you?
One of our
How can we work with you as well?
Well, one of our previous Prime Ministers, to win the election, he said education, education, education. Why do they keep building more prisons instead of investing in education? When I say I would have been a gold medal winner at swimming or athletics, how much talent is going to waste in prison? And what are we doing to encourage and motivate and improve on our education? Education is the key to life. And if you don't get educated, I'm not saying it's too late to make a success, but it just makes it that much harder, and it makes it even more difficult when you've got a criminal record. Our young people grow into adults, and when they grow into adults, they realise their mistake, and they spend the rest of their life trying to put that right.
So you would think that community service could be the answer rather than prison?
If you're going to do something with a young person, i.e. community service, why not pay them a minimum wage to say, look, you've made a mistake, we understand the mistake that's been made, but we're not going to continue to let you make mistakes. So we'll give you a minimum wage and we'll encourage you and we'll motivate you.
Yeah. I had to be honest. Young people today are more aggressive.
Yes.
Than before. Many years ago, when I was very young, they used to stop us maybe because a friend broke a window, or because you didn't pay the fare on the bus, or because you put a tongue out at the police officer. Very stupid things. Today young people are very aggressive. If you tell them something, they might show you a knife, or they push you, they take you back. Something that never happens here before. So we people now, we're afraid. We're afraid to go on the bus at 3:30. We're afraid to go on the bus at 8:30. We're afraid to go on the underground. If you see a group of young people, you cross the road. the police almost is afraid to talk to young people in case they call it the racist, in case they call it. So the diversity, the different cultures, has changed the whole system. So who can you blame on this one? I know UK or London is a city where is more immigrants than ever. When you were 14, 15 years old, it was very, very English. It was different now. It's
very integrated now.
Very integrated,
yes.
Which I love it.
Yes.
I love it, but it's not working. The city is not working. How you view, and your point of view as a person with experience inside and outside, how you view the whole situation?
It's a changing of attitudes. It's an education of attitudes. You know, there's so much racism out there that's just below the surface. It's frightening. It's frightening, and it's painful to see. You know, to see the waste, to see non-investment in programs that work. Now, there's too much segregation. And not enough integration.
Because when I look at the figures, when I look at young people, and I look at figures into very English people, it's usually stolen cars, stolen bikes, maybe drugs, maybe very little things. When I see into other kind, let's say black people, or Latin American people, or Asian people, the commitment, the crimes are different.
Let me tell you something here, Gloria. Look, what we've done, we've decided that one of the best ways forward is to have to promote cooperation between communities, youth, anti-offending groups, to encourage ideas and best practice across borders, to allow young offenders via LACES to visit and meet young offenders from other European countries. You know, open this up so that young people and people that know how to prevent and people in the community that have never been in trouble can help. You're creating a program of reform that will work. I've got an office in Greenwich that's given to me by a local businessman. Now, who's to say that 20 years ago I didn't break into his house? But he gives me my office because the one word that he says that works with me is trust. But you have to build on that. You have to build that trust and that relationship.
Who supports you? Who supports LACE?
No one.
No one. So
No,
how did you manage
well, I did win through the British Transport Police. We won 30 grand Home Office funding. We got 20 grand of that over 2 years, but the last 10 grand, someone forgot to apply for it. You know, the people that were looking after the financial side for LACES, and we lost 10 grand. And
what the money does is for they pay the rent, or
no, it paid me a wage.
To pay your wage because you need something to live.
Yeah, but it was such a minimum wage that I ended up getting into debt with my rent arrears, with my rent, and got into rent arrears. You know, so what LACE is looking for is financial support.
Financial support. How is the relationship with the police and with the VTP? How is the relationship?
Well, to give you an example, last month the Metropolitan Police booked 2 LACES bookings on the 2nd and 3rd of March. And then they cancelled for no reason. I've tried to get the police involved for 18 years, and they come along and they say it's great what you're doing, but then they go.
Why did they say they don't want to work with you?
I have no idea.
Have you approached them? Have you approached?
Constantly. I've got a program together that is for the Met, the BTP, and LACES.
What is the relationship with the BTP?
The BTP was very good.
They were
more receptive. It was because of the BTP that we got the £30,000 Home Office funding, but obviously that ran out, so the work ran out.
So what happened next? What would you like to do now? Because it is important that if you set up something for so many years, and now the problem is funding, what did you ask the public? Because I'm sure lots of people are listening to us, a lot of people will be watching the video, a lot of people will be very much interested in your work and yourself, and it's important to give people the right message, the right, to understand the importance that you almost not finished, but you almost crossed the bridge, and it's not going back, as you said before. But then, what would you like to do is to attract more young people. Also, you need to attract funding. You need to attract all the agencies that are willing to work with you. So, what will be the right message for the agencies? What will be the right messages for the young people?
You can't do anything without money.
No, that's what I understand that.
Okay. With the young people, you need to listen to what someone like me, with the experience that I have, tells you. It's about choices. Sorry. With the British Transport Police, with the Met Police, with all sorts of organisations, help. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
We're not asking for anything special. We're not asking to be something that we're not. We're asking to help. And prevention is better than the cure. If you've got children and you're worried about them, then you need to talk to people like me.
Joe,
So
the last question I will ask
Yes.
you, because we got a few minutes to go, is did you have a subscription for young people to become members of ULAs, for people to be part of your work, people who one day will take over, for people who one day be able to continue what you already started? Have you?
We don't know, because we haven't got any money, and I need expertise in that field.
To help you to
Yes.
how to raise money, how to work.
Look, if you've got a young person that is referred to LACES from the courts, it's not just about me, it's about the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the help that they're given continually, over a period of time. Look at Jason again, it works, but you've got to give it time,
Yeah.
and you've got to steer them in the right direction. On a Monday evening, for 3 hours, I and some of the people I work with go to a blacksmith. He gives us 3 hours tuition on how to become a blacksmith. That's working with metal.
Bjorn,
That's just one.
Charles is lovely. We'll go a few minutes, and there are many left that we go. I would like you to look at the camera. It's looking at you now. People looking at you. I would like you to give a message to our young people, not only the Latin American people, because it's not only the Latin American young people who's listening to this program, but we've got people from around the world that is also listening, and they would like to have from you the right message for the people. What would you like Einstein to do with you in a very short sentences about you as a child? You waste your life in something because you didn't have experience, you didn't have anybody to help you. So how would you deliver that message to these young people to convince, please don't be in trouble again?
Have faith and believe in yourself. Listen to what people have to say, but the right people. Make up your own mind. Life is about choices, and if you make the wrong choice, it's not too late to change, but it just makes it more difficult. There's so much in life that you can enjoy, but prison isn't the answer. Living a lifestyle as a criminal isn't the answer. Peace of mind is worth far more than trying to be something you're not. So, you just make up your own mind and have a nice, decent life.